The laughter didn't stop right away. It echoed across the classroom, bouncing off the whiteboard, sliding under desks, sticking to the walls like something dirty. Aisha stood frozen beside her chair, her fingers clenched around the straps of her backpack. Her teacher, Mr. Haldane, leaned casually against his desk, arms crossed, lips curved in a smirk that didn't belong on a grown man's face. "So let me get this straight," he said. "Your grandmother was, what? A soldier?" Aisha swallowed. "A Navy SEAL, sir." That's when the laughter really exploded. A boy in the back slapped his desk. Someone snorted. A girl near the window wiped tears from her eyes. Mr. Haldane chuckled. "That's cute. Very creative." Aisha felt her ears burn. She whispered. Mr. Haldane shook his head slowly. "Sweetheart, Navy SEALs are elite special forces. They don't recruit grandmothers. They recruit warriors." Aisha didn't say anything. Because she knew. And because she had seen things no one else in this room had. Her grandmother never talked about her past. Never boasted. Never wore medals. Never corrected people when they assumed she was just a frail old woman who spent her days knitting and feeding stray cats. But Aisha had seen the scars. Long, pale lines across her ribs. A circular burn on her shoulder. A thin slash near her jaw that looked like it had almost taken her face. And once, just once, Aisha had woken up in the middle of the night to hear her grandmother speaking in a language she didn't recognize, voice sharp, commanding, dangerous. Not old. Not weak. Dangerous. "Okay, class," Mr. Haldane said, still smiling. "Back to reality. Aisha, next time, maybe choose something a little more believable." More laughter. Aisha sat down slowly. Her hands were shaking. Not because she was embarrassed. Because she was angry. When the final bell rang, she didn't wait for anyone. She walked straight home, her heart pounding so hard it hurt. Her grandmother's house was quiet when she arrived. Too quiet. Aisha dropped her bag and ran to the kitchen. Her grandmother stood at the counter, slicing vegetables with slow, precise movements. She wore her usual cardigan, her silver hair tied back loosely. She looked harmless. But Aisha knew better. They laughed, Aisha blurted. Her grandmother paused. "Who did?" "My class. My teacher. They laughed when I said you were a Navy SEAL." Her grandmother's knife stopped midair. For a moment, Aisha thought she imagined it. But then she saw it. That look. The one that only appeared for a split second sometimes when someone startled her from behind or when fireworks went off too close. Not fear. Memory. Her grandmother slowly placed the knife down. "Did they now?" she said quietly. "Yes. And he mocked me. He said SEALs are warriors, not grandmothers." Her grandmother exhaled through her nose. A long, slow breath. "Technically," she said, "he's right." Aisha stared at her. "What? I wasn't a grandmother when I was a SEAL." Aisha blinked. You mean?" Her grandmother turned to face her. And for just a moment, she stood straighter. Not stiff. Not fragile. Straight. Her shoulders aligned. Her chin lifted. Her eyes, normally warm and gentle, hardened into something sharp and calculating. "I didn't even plan on living this long," she said. Aisha's heart skipped. "You really were," she whispered. Her grandmother studied her for a long time. Then she nodded. "Yes." Aisha's chest tightened. "Then why did you let them laugh at me?" Her grandmother smiled sadly. "Because people don't deserve truths they're not ready to hear." Aisha didn't understand that yet. She would. The next day, everything changed. Mr. Haldane had invited a guest speaker. A real Navy officer. The irony would have been funny if it didn't hurt. Aisha sat in her seat, staring at her desk. When the door opened, everyone straightened. A man in uniform stepped in, tall, broad-shouldered, decorated with medals. He introduced himself. Talked about discipline, teamwork, honor. And then, Mr. Haldane smirked and said, "Maybe you can help us clear something up. Yesterday, one of my students claimed her grandmother was a Navy SEAL." Some students giggled again. Aisha's throat closed. The officer frowned slightly. "Is that so?" "Yes," Mr. Haldane said. "Thought it would be a fun creative exercise. But maybe you can explain what it really takes to be a SEAL." The officer nodded slowly. "Of course." Then he asked, "What's your grandmother's name?" Aisha hesitated. "Elena." The man froze. Not dramatically. Not obviously. But his eyes sharpened. "Last name?" he asked. Aisha swallowed. "Ramirez." The room felt colder. The officer stared at her. Then he laughed once. Not amused. Nervous. "No," he whispered. Mr. Haldane frowned. "No what?" The officer slowly turned toward him. "You might want to be very careful about what you say next." The room went silent. Aisha felt her heart hammering. "What?" Mr. Haldane asked. The officer pulled out his phone. Typed. Then went pale. "Ramirez," he said quietly. "Short. Silver hair. Walks with a slight limp on her left leg." Aisha's mouth fell open. "Yes." The officer swallowed. "She's not just a SEAL," he said. "She's a legend." And that was only the beginning.